Hey girlies, long time no see. So, I haven't really been doing too much on my Yasha cosplay. Recently, I've just been working on fixing up some store-bought cosplays. I usually don't buy cosplays, but for my idol group, gotta drop that I'm in. We usually buy costumes or buy some pre-made stuff. So I was redoing my Aquarium Mari outfit recently. It looks really good. I really like it. So I took a break from working on Yasha, but now I'm ready to get back. So right now, I gotta be doing a lot of thinking. Basically, I'm gonna be working on her top. Now the hardest thing with her top is that I feel like there's gonna be a lot of pattern altering and like kind of honestly just flying by the seat of my pants. But I am using a base pattern. I'm using this McCall's M8144 shirt pattern. Specifically C, because I didn't really want a visible seam on the collar part, because that's what it looked like in the drawing. So as you can see, I've shown this before, but I have some kind of rough drafts of it. The hardest thing is going to be kind of these weird strips, but my plan is to at least tonight do some writing, figure out how many strips and look at some images, and mainly cut the two biggest pieces, which are going to be solid black, and then the kind of see-through-y part. I might first cut some pieces on some throwaway fabric just to see how that would work. But I already have my pattern pieces cut out, not to the edge, not to my exact measurement. I'm going to be cutting a medium for this, but when I lay it down, I'll be cutting it on the line. The idea, hopefully, is that once I kind of do some draping and like cut some mock pieces, I don't really have to alter too much. It's really just going to be cutting the pieces and then laying on top of it all the stripes and any accessories, which that's kind of the same game plan for the pants. I know last video I was like, what the fuck did I do with my pants? I cut them at the crotch because I wanted them on the side to lay flat, because I'm not really cutting the legs off and apart. I'm just laying one side of the leg open so I can add like the details on top. And the same thing for the shirt is I don't want to make so many individual pieces. I'd rather just make one solid piece and then add the details on top. So yeah, so I'm gonna be writing some stuff down, and then hopefully I'm gonna start cutting some pieces, messing around, and then hopefully move on to cutting the final major piece of the shirt. Hey. So I'm still working on altering the pattern, but I kind of wanted to take a moment to like explain my process. So in her outfit, like there's like a black solid and then there's like a mesh, and on the arm it doesn't really look like it gets lined up. Like it's a lot of kind of just splicing of like different fabrics and meshing them together. So what I've been doing is just kind of guesstimating, I mean using my ruler of course, but kind of thinking about my arm and like how much space I'm wanting to give certain parts. That's how I did the arm. I just kind of was like, okay, I'll take like kind of the medium of like the arm in half and I'll use that. Especially since it's not gonna be on a fold, it's like a single sleeve that's open. I'll grab it in a moment. I'll just cut those pieces needed for it separately. But the back is going to be fine. The front is where it's most complex. And obviously you can't really tell my pencil marks, but basically I originally had just a line here and going down. So this upper part would be the mesh and this section here would be the black. I'm also kind of figuring out how I want to tailor this edge at the bottom, because to me on the drawing it looks like she has like it almost kind of looks like a bodysuit where it kind of goes down. Because it's really hard to tell like where the start of her pants and the end of her shirt is. So I decided to make it kind of like, let me see if this camera can tilt, kind of just like tailored down where like, you know, some skin will show here and that's okay. And this, I actually want to make it a lot longer and just make it just some drooping, you know, raggedy fabric. Just to keep within the aesthetic of like the belt and everything. But I wanted to make a really important note about mock-ups and testing on your dress form. If you don't have a dress form, you have a body.
if you don't have a body, sorry. So as you can see, you know, I did everything. Is it accurate? Not really. But I followed to the lines that I had drawn on here. Not cutting anything on here really, because I didn't want to mess it up at all. But as you can see, what I thought was, oh, this is exactly where the top of my chest, like my boobs are. Actually was way lower on my dress form. And this dress form is one that like changes to your size. So I know this one will fit, is my body size. So I'm really glad I did that. Yes, it's not the exact fabric I'm using, but at this point I'm not testing to see like where should I put darts. Like I'm not doing like a true like draping or anything like that. I just wanted to see if my modifications were correct. Let it be known that I mean I use some math, but I don't do any calculations. It's mostly just using my ruler and kind of messing around. But as you can see, where the mesh would start and the black would be way too low than what I want. So I went back to here and added about 3 inches on top. I really like the center of this so far, but I might add just an extra inch. And I really like how this has tapered down. So pretty good. And you can't really see on the sleeve my pencil marks, but essentially like I was saying earlier, it's one piece like this. It's not like some sleeve patterns where it's just like a half like this and you cut it on fold. This is completely its own piece. So what I was thinking of cutting 2 of each of the fabrics for each sleeve. So one full mesh and then one full solid. And then there's a rectangle shape here, and that's all the mesh, and then the edges are where the black is at. I'm probably gonna cut a mock-up piece of this next just to see how I liked where, again, I put my measurements, what I thought was correct. And then I think I'm gonna go on to cutting the real fabric.
Hey, so I mentioned last night that I was just cutting pieces, which I've continued through the night, and then just kind of cut pieces on my dress form. I've got sleeves, I've got even like the mesh parts, and I was just pinning it on my dress form just to see how it kind of looked and whatnot. It's really hard to see, but there is mesh here. And it's really hard because the dress form's so dark, but when this is going to go against my pale ass fucking skin, perfect. So yeah, I just want to show that. So a lot of my next steps are going to be probably serging most of these. Mainly the see-through fabric I really want to serge because it frays like crazy. Whereas the solid black, like you can stretch it all you want and it's not going to fray as much. So those parts I might just do a straight zigzag. But also part of me is kind of lazy and I really fucking love sergers, so I might just serge through everything. But I'm not gonna serge or put all the entire pieces together. I'm doing it by sections. So first we'll be putting the see-through on the sleeves and then on the top here. And then it's going to be adding those straps. So once I get all the pieces, I can add the details on top and then put everything together. Also rate the fit. I'm going for a small town southern boy is the fit. What's up? Sadie? Is that your name? Yo, you wanna come back to my place later? What's my name? Oh, Douglas. Hey, this is what I've done. Kind of hard to see, but basically, oh, well that blew off. Basically, I've been cutting these 1-inch long strips of actually some lining fabric because I wanted something kind of stable to put up against this kind of very flowy fabric. And honestly, I've just kind of been eyeballing / also like kind of laying out where I'd like things. Now the wind is just blowing around. But you can see I pinned it on this sleeve. I might add some more strips. But you're kind of starting to see the idea of like these pieces coming in. This will all be done like, you know, with black thread and stuff like that. But I'm really happy, again, with how things are so far. I just really, like, I know the straps are part of it, but God, I really love the fucking curve, and it will look good. Okay, so this part, I'm just doing a little test, because I was using lining fabric, on the stretch, and then I just kind of went for it. I pinned, I did stuff, I had to layer it a bit, because
you know, it was so many strips that, like, you know, there was the horizontal ones first and then the vertical ones. So yeah, that's just me sewing zigzag. It honestly wasn't too hard to figure out, but I believe either I mentioned earlier or I'll probably mention later in this video, the fray. Oh my god, the fraying was really bad. So next time I might use a non-fraying fabric. So here's me again, clipping off the tails, laying things out. So you see how I have to layer it, like put some pieces first and then another piece after. But yeah.
Hi, it's been a little bit. First off, I was taking care of a 5-year-old, no, 3-year-old for like the past 5 days. That's where the 5 came from. And I could not work on anything, barely. So I couldn't film anything because I didn't want to show a child on screen. Also, peep the experiment makeup look. I'm just trying new things. Also, it is primaries where I'm at. If you're American. But I'm not finished. I still need to sew the sleeves on. But basically, doesn't it look awesome? I don't think my camera really gives it justice. Obviously, I'm gonna have to go through and, like, you know, fix some of these frays, but I kind of like that it's a bit frayed, especially on the front, because, like, she's been fighting. She's been doing things. So yeah, sew on the sleeves, and then probably just, like, do maybe some rolled hems on these edges, and then probably just any pieces, like here you can see it tapers down, but there's some edges where it's not, you know, quite exact. I might just put some more scraps down it. The collar, this just form doesn't really, like, the collar part doesn't look like the best on it, but when it fits on me, it's kind of like this top I'm wearing actually, where it's just kind of like, it's a bit more pinned up here, but like really nice. And then here's the back. The collar I just hand stitched down. I might go back and maybe do like a top stitch. But yeah, I'm so happy how it looks. I have like exactly 2 weeks and 2 days. And I still need to make a sword. But oh, I'm just so happy. Yeah, it looks really great. So yeah, I'm gonna finish sewing this up. I'm probably gonna go through and do some top stitching, clean this top part up, and then maybe add some pieces. But that's basically, I know this video wasn't really much of a, hey, here's how to make the top. Mainly because I had to do so much, like, off camera, because for one, the hardest thing was putting all these pieces down. I like kind of had it laid out. I had a little bit of a measurement system, but also I just kind of free-handed it. And really just zigzagging all these on, and then I'm still gonna have to go back and like trim the edges, and I have to be very careful trimming because like on occasion I'll accidentally cut the mesh, which fucking sucks. Same on the sleeves, like that's just what took the longest, was doing all those pieces. And like during it too, I felt very like, oh, I don't know, this is perfect, but when I put this on, it looks great. So, and it's not like uncomfy. That was my worry, was like if I did something where it was like each of these like sewn together with it, like instead of on top, it's gonna be so itchy. But I like it better with the look on top. And I think my decision, I just have to decide if I want to keep the frays, which would mean kind of just like roughing this out, or if I don't want it and like continue cleaning it, then like really cleaning it to make it look nice. But I'll have to see how it looks with the coat. But yeah, I'm so happy. And most of this was obviously this was all like top stitched, zigzag stitched on top. And then basically everything else was serge edges. I wanted this to be easy on me, especially since this fabric doesn't fray. But my one fault was that this fabric that I put on top does fray like fucking crazy. So I put so much fray check on this thing, it smells like fray check. I've put so much fray check on this that it smells like my grandparents' house. Like, they smell like fray check. But yeah. And there's some other things, like you see me adjusting his shoulder, where it's like this, like you can see the serge underneath, that I might just do some tacking, or I might do a top stitch at the shoulders. So really just details. So next big thing is probably going to be the pants, which is going to be kind of the same thing, except, like, yeah, same thing kind of like what I did on the sleeves with these strips, just like on top. I just have to cut out the pieces. That's going to be the hardest part. Dang,
Listen, this makeup isn't really that good. I'm not very steady hand. I just wanted to try something crazy. I look like a Star Wars, like the look is very Star Warsy. I had an interview today too, and that went really well. However, all right, last thing before I make this clip too long, you can't really see. You can't. You could see a little, but apparently I had a hole in my backside, and that makes me so pissed. So I'm gonna have to fix that. But also, I've had these pants for like 8 years, so it might be time. But outside of that, so happy. So after working on the shirt, I just kind of went ahead and started getting on the pants. Most of my time was spent, as you can see, like patterning. So figuring out the shapes, so looking at the image and figure out the shapes. The most important thing being like the weird open pockets. So what I did was I just laid all the pieces on top first and then cut away that section. So mainly it was just a lot of kind of applique, essentially. I then also decided at this time to start cutting my pieces for the glove. Did probably a couple weeks ago the patterning for it. And then I also took the time to style my wig and get it all nice and matted, as well as keep it nice and clean. I have no words. I don't really film too much of my wig, but I'm still working on it, just kind of braiding it and stuff, but my camera doesn't do justice, but oh my god. Oh my god. I feel amazing. I have never had anything this dark in my cosplay wardrobe, ever. I do not cosplay very goth characters. And obviously, of course, there's something in the fucking camera. Yeah, sorry guys. But, I mean, just... She got booty. She's serving. She got her little... That's on the other side. She got a little arm thing. Sorry, I'm an anti-romantic. I am already sweating. This thing is gonna be a bitch to wear, but man. I look good right now even without makeup, even though I feel like a baby. Like, don't look at my face, look at everything else. Hey girlies, so, there should have been a clip before this of me putting everything on that I had so far. I've had so many comments. People really like it. People are like, yes, giving me body, yada yada yada, yada yada yada. So really the last big things are the gloves, the boot leg warmer things, and then the sword. The sword's gonna be the biggest thing. So I kind of made a little pattern for the boots. They're really just kind of square shapes. What's the most important thing is that there's gonna be loops at the end to lace it. Which is why this piece is separate, because this kind of goes in the middle and it just kind of ties all together. So really gonna be cutting that. I already cut my pieces for the glove. I just gotta sew everything for that. And then work on the sword. And then really I just want to like fine tune everything, like add more details. Like on the coat I think I'm gonna add some feathers, put some more pieces in the hair, and that such thing. Maybe give everything to like a little paint job, mainly on the coat. So this is the fabric I'm using for the legs. I got this fabric at Walmart, and it was all like, you know, rolled up, and I was like, oh, that's a good, I love this side. I did not realize it was zebra print till I unraveled it, and I was like,
weird that they wouldn't, you know, advertise the zebra side before, but oh well. I'm just gonna use the outer side of it, and I'm probably gonna cut two pieces of each, that way it's a bit more thicker, and I can stuff it a bit with some padding. Because they, like I said, they look like leg warmers on her, or at least they kind of look a little bit thicker. Which is why I wanted this fabric, because it's a knit, but it also feels very thick. So yeah, I'm just gonna be cutting those pieces, cutting the details, and really I should be done cutting pieces. It's all just sewing at this point. At this point it is August 9th. I have like a week and 3 days. Woo! Okay, I just want to say, not sponsored, but I got this chalk pen thing from Madame So for like a discount price, and honestly, it was really nice. I used it to help make my stripy pieces for the glove, as well as when it came to doing other detail stuff, and honestly, it worked really well. I hate chalk, sometimes it gets really messy. Hey, I'm here in my basement. Because today is the day I really need to make my sword. Mostly because I may or may not be getting a job soon, so I don't know how much time I have, to make it on other times, so I'm gonna get started on that. So, I've already had some notes. For context, I'm gonna step back a little. Yasha's sword. Well, first of all, I'm doing the, I always want to call it Magician's Red, but that's not the name of the sword. That's Abdul's stand. The Magician, her large greatsword. It is literally a 6-foot long sword. Like, I've looked it up, I've done the math. It is a 6-foot long sword. I mean, the blade itself is like 5 feet, but like, I want a pretty long hilt, because, you know, it's intended to be dual-handing. So, it's a little hard to see, and obviously it's kind of mirrored, but these are my notes on the sword. So, first of all, I need to get a dowel. I need to get a long dowel so I can put it in the center and also use that as the hilt. So that way I can decorate it, and it has a really sturdy base to it. I'll use some of the foam to accent kind of the, oh my god, come on Hannah, you gotta know swords. The cover, for lack of a better word. So the most important thing is going to be drawing out the actual blade parts. I think my idea, well, first of all, here, let me show you what I'm using. It's hard to see, but it's like a insulation foam. I think that stuff works the best as props, in my opinion. EVA foam can work good too, but I like use EVA foam just for armor, whereas like this kind of upholstery foam works really good for props. Especially like my experience in theater, like a lot of our props, you know, could be made from this kind of foam. You know, it's really lightweight. It's sturdy because it's intended to, you know, be put in walls. So I got this sheet like last year, from Lowe's, not sponsored, and right now it's about like an inch thick. So my idea hopefully is to cut 2 pieces for the blade, put them together, sand them down, put the dowel in the middle, so that would mean kind of carving out the center. But really, because it's such a huge piece, I really just want to cut it down to what size I really need to work with, because I don't want to have to be working on such a big sheet, especially with the little space I have in the basement and my room. So that's really gonna be it, and then the details of that piece, not the handle, like the hilt part, covering thing. That will also be foam, and that'll be the same thing. 2 pieces cut, decorated on top, and then any details on top, I can use this foam, put it on top, put some details. Anything super small, I can put, I can use some EVA foam for details, but basically, put the details on, glue it all, use some seal it, paint, well, seal, gesso, paint, and that really should be it. So really the hardest part for me is just doing it, like, just getting it and cutting it. But let me show you guys my tool that I'm going to use to help carve a bit. So this is what I use to carve stuff. It's basically like a mini table saw. It's awesome. I love this thing so much. Obviously it's got my stuff on there and we cover it to not let any dust, but it's got this single little blade there. I can tilt it and stuff like that, but basically I'm not using that to cut the whole piece. Like I said, it's too much work to try and, take that whole piece. So instead, cutting out to the pieces I need and then carving it down with this. So probably just for the bigger pieces to cut out, I'll probably just use like a handsaw, and just carve into it. So yeah, that's what I'm gonna be doing right now. So I didn't really have a pattern for the blade of the sword. So in this clip you just see me kind of measuring stuff, guesstimating based on my drawing as well, just kind of like, okay, this looks like a good scale. And then I also specifically made a pattern for the hilt part of it. Math, yeah. So, bad thing one happened. It's hard to see, but my blade got stuck because I think it got loosened while I was doing stuff, so I have to wait till my dad gets home to fix that because I cannot figure out how to get it out. But that's okay because all that's left was the second piece and just curving the edges of the sword. And the rest is just kind of doing it by hand. So I think right now I'm going to go buy a dowel, carve the middle part, and then just start gluing pieces together and let that sit overnight. When your sword is bigger than you, and in fact a little heavier than you. So I don't really know how much I filmed and or what I really explained, but as I was cutting pieces, my blade broke, so I had to do a lot of stuff by hand. But while that was going on, I decided, you know what, I'll get my pipe. So I got PVC pipe, about 1 inch in diameter. The hardest part, which I didn't film any because it was such a mess, was making a hole in between my 2 parts to put together. So I finally put it all together. The glue has dried. As you can see, there's a little bit of a space. That shouldn't be a problem because I'm going to curve the edges. And if there's any space, I'll just add some more glue and add some pressure to it. Probably add some more clamps. And you see, you can hear it, the glue getting unsticky. Just because of the way that it's hard to try and cut holes into it. But I feel like fucking Cloud, bro. Like, and after that, so yeah, carving it. Gotta carve it to get the point. Give it an edge. Okay, I don't think I explained it well enough. It literally was such a pain to carve and saw this, and that's why I didn't show it a lot of those clips, because it literally was so sandy. But sealing it and protecting it and painting it, it's really all come together. But I definitely had some difficulties, and the blade breaking literally didn't help either. Like, I had to do everything by hand with a handsaw and like hot wire tool, and a Dremel too. Also, I don't mention, but I also use moldable foam
It's a type of like newer EVA foam that you can use, and it hardens like foam, to fill basically all the cracks and add any of the details on top.
So hopefully I explained enough of it over voiceover of the sword making. Honestly, it was probably the hardest part just because of the amount of problems I faced, but at the end of the day, it looks really cool. Let me grab it. Here's the sword. Obviously the lighting doesn't give it justice, but my style of prop making is very, I wouldn't say realistic by any means, like definitely not realistic, a lot more stylized. Also, keep in mind, this is the first sword I've ever fucking made. Like, made by scratch. Like, I've gotten, like, foam swords and used that and, like, painted them. But, like, this is the first, like, genuine sword I've made. So, yeah, I'm really happy with it. It looks awesome. I recently just made a mask to wear with Yasha because, obviously, still in a mask mandate. But it's cool. It's got some chains on it. Let me bring it out actually. Here's my mask. It's a little big because I lost the like adjusting to it, but I'll just put bobby pins in it when I'm, you know, using it and take it off here. But they are having a mask competition part of it. I'm not sure if I'll win anything in the mask part, but I feel like this really encompasses like the whole theme of the entire outfit, kind of those motifs. So a lot of chains. Shibori dyeing with, specifically I did arashi, which is, where you, like, just kind of tie it up. Well, that you'd put it on a pipe. This one I was just doing ties around it. But it really matches with the coat. And like I said, I will put, like, a bobby pin in the back here because, as you can tell, it's kind of big and loose. Most of my masks never fit my face. But yeah, I'm really happy with how everything came out. Last thing that I'm gonna put in this video, is me wearing the fit. I've already kind of put it on a couple times, or just the time for, when I was kind of done with all, like, the big clothing parts. I don't think I'm gonna make a strap to hold the sword in just because I'm kind of lazy. I'm starting my job tomorrow, so I can use it as a walking stick, easy peasy. But yeah, I just want to say thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you for the support. And hopefully you learned some interesting techniques, how you like to do your costumes and such, etc., etc. Make sure you hit that like button, comment, subscribe. Let's get to 250,000K likes and subscribers and views. Bye.